Paul Gowder is a travel enthusiast, content creator, and founder of powwows.com, the leading online resource for exploring and celebrating Native American culture. With over 40 trips to Disney World and 24 cruises under his belt, is a lot. Paul has a passion for discovering new places and helping others travel smarter and more meaningfully. From live streaming powwows across the U.S. to uncovering cultural experiences in Alaska and beyond, Paul brings a unique perspective that blends adventure, tradition, and storytelling. His goal? To inspire others to travel deeper, connect with culture, and create unforgettable memories. So I would like to add, there we go. Hang on. What's going on? There we go. We got him. We got Paul. I'd like to introduce Paul and have him come in and introduce himself a little bit, where you can all follow him.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk. I love talking travel, so this will be fun. My name is Paul Gowder. I am from Lexington, South Carolina. I've been in this online space for a long time now. Started my first website in 1996. Right now, there's several places you can, like you said, I've got too much going on, but Gowders Are on the Go is a great place to kind of find some of the stuff we've got going on. And as we talk, I'll probably give you a couple other pages to go check out, but that's one place to kind of find out all of our travel and personal stuff that's going on.
Cool. And all links will be in the description and the show notes as well. So you can follow Paul in any way you like, whether that be his podcast, his YouTube channel, powwows.com, his coaching. We'll get into all of that stuff. But first of all, I'm really interested in powwows.com. It's, a juggernaut in its space, right? It's honestly like, kind of revolutionized like the availability of Native American cultural celebrations when it comes to like the online space and having that be available for people. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about that. And, how did that come to be? And how did you get involved in, creating powwows.com?
Yeah, thanks. So I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I never meant to start powwows.com as a business. It was, that's not what I did, right? I didn't like sit down one day and say, hey, what is this little side hustle I can build, whatever. It was back in 1986 and I was in grad school with extra time and building web pages, tinkering on the internet. And so I built a few web pages. If you look behind me, you can probably see some Star Wars stuff back there. And I actually did a post on social media today showing off my vintage Star Wars toy collection, which is up here on the wall. So that was the first webpage I built, was about Star Wars toy collecting. And that was 1996. Disney had not bought Star Wars. There were no other movies, just the three. And so, around 83 was kind of the end of Star Wars as the story. So that one kind of sat there and didn't get much traction. But the other one I built was about some of the things I was learning. I had some friends that were first taking me to powwows. I kind of discovering that whole world and learning more about that. And so I built pages about that. It was like, hey, I just learned about this, and here's some pictures I took, and here's some stuff I learned. It was really, just meant to be like me sharing, right? But it was, from the beginning, it was the community that took off. And still to this day, it's the community that continues to drive powwows.com forward. And it was the people wanting to share with each other, wanting to find ways to engage. And so in those early days, one of the first things we did to kind of foster that is, this was back before Facebook or social media. So I found some free software out there that would allow me to create a forum and let people start posting messages and talk back and forth. And so that was really where we started and how the community grew. And, 28 years later, here we are.
Oh, that's awesome. And I know that another big part of powwows.com are the live streams.
Yes.
So if you could talk about that, because there's a ton of logistics, and because trust me, I know, especially live streaming, not in a room inside a building. If you're out there and you're having to create these live streaming setups, and how do you manage all of that? Were you doing that initially and then kind of like handed it off to a team, or like how does all that come together? Yeah,
I mean, it definitely evolved over time. We did our first live stream in 2004, and that was again, is not something I thought we would ever get into. But a friend called me and said, "Hey, I'm on the committee for this powwow. Can you come out here and live stream?" And I was like, "I don't know. I've never done it, but let's try." Right. And so I flew out to Oklahoma. And that way back then, we were doing it with a camera connected to a laptop with FireWire, streaming to a Windows media server. It was crazy. It was really a sketch. I don't even know how we pulled it off, but we did. So now where we are with it is, we've gone through lots of different equipment over the years, but we have now upgraded over the last year where we've moved all to PTZ cameras. So, whether in the beginning, it was me traveling to all these things and doing it as a side job, and taking leave without pay from my job to travel to, 10 powwows a year. Now we have a couple of teams that help us. So I still travel to a few every year. I have a husband and wife team that do about 25 a year. And then I've got another guy that does a few here and there. And there's a couple of other companies that are doing it now. And sometimes we'll contract with them to work this out. So we have lots of teams that are helping us. But our setup nowadays is all PTZ cameras. That gives us a much wider view and options to control things. And we're running it. We were doing everything with Vimeo's Livestream Studio, but we're now switching over to Wirecast. So we've only done one powwow on that. Tonight will be the second one. So that's a transition for us. But yeah, that's nowadays that's what we're doing with multiple teams. There's sometimes we have 2 powwows going at the same time. We had a couple weekends last year. We had 3 powwows streaming at the same time. So it's pretty fun. It does keep us pretty busy. The biggest powwow of the year is coming up. I'll be heading out to Albuquerque, April 24th, I think, and that's Gathering Nations out there in Albuquerque. So we'll be traveling out there.
So you mentioned a couple things. You said PTZ cameras.
Pan tilt zoom cameras. Things we can remotely control. So they're those kind of cameras like you see them all the time on Big Brother. They always zoom in on the camera and show you the camera moving. Yeah. So we're using all PTZ cameras so that we can sit back and not have to go to each camera and kind of man it. We can, from one control panel, control all of our cameras at one time.
Okay, cool. And then how do people access the live streams? They have to go to powwows.com. Is it on YouTube? Is it on Twitch? Like, do people have to pay to see it, or how does it work?
We stream all free. Right now we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook. There's some powwows that have have a social media presence, so we'll simulcast it over to their social media channels if they want. But primarily it's YouTube and Facebook. We're experimenting with Instagram and TikTok and some other things too, but those are our primary platforms.
Right. And then, just to get the the definitions down for everyone that may not be aware, could you define what a powwow is and like where that word comes from and the significance of it?
Yeah, powwows are a Native American celebration. So if you're like me, I live down in South Carolina. We have a festival every weekend for something, right? We have an okra strut, we have an iris festival. There's a festival for everything. Native Americans, or the tribes around the country, now have powwows. Not all tribes powwowed in the beginning, but it has become something that has spread across the country. So there's a powwow somewhere happening every weekend, probably multiple of them. So they're just cultural celebrations. They have them for birthdays, anniversaries. Tribes have a lot of tribes have an annual powwow every year at the same time. They're sponsored sometimes by tribes, sometimes by casinos and resorts, sometimes by just an individual group of people that get together and organize them. And nowadays, many of them have moved into competition powwows. So you're seeing the dancers and singers are competing, but these are complete cultural immersion events that you're going to see dancing, singing, food, crafts, vendors, sometimes special presentations with storytellers and other things too. So, and let me say, these are open to the public. They are something that they want people, outside the culture to come and experience this. So here's one of, I mentioned, I'll give you more pages. So if you are out there and you want to experience powwows for the first time, I've got a couple of resources. If you're new and want to know what to expect at your first powwow, go to powwows.com/powwow101. And that gets you into, I got a little free email series that'll kind of take you through the do's and don'ts, the etiquette, where to find powwows, and what to do when you get there. That's one. And then if you're looking for powwows near you, powwows.com/powwows near me, and I'll send you updates. There are powwows in every state, in most Canadian provinces. So one point we put together a map, and pretty much anywhere in the U.S. within 2 hours, there's at least one powwow.
Wow. So it just goes to show there's a lot,
There's a
out
lot.
there, and there's a lot, kind of in our own area that we might not expect, and that's valuable cultural experiences that we can all, experience and respect. That's awesome. So when you have your setups, because I'm really interested in this.
Yeah.
So like, how does the internet situation work? Do you have satellite internet? Are you like, how do you actually get the stream out there? Because that's where I'm like, ooh, because if you're like, I don't know, sometimes if they're in buildings or sometimes they're outside or what have you, they could be anywhere technically, right? So like, how do you get that signal out there? And who is kind of the person that, oh, we got a new follower, thank you.
Oh,
So yeah, so I just I wanted to ask about that technical aspect.
so yeah, over the years, things like Starlink have changed the game for us and made it a lot easier. But same, I was at a powwow up in North Carolina just a few weeks ago, and they gave me a little hotspot that was the town's hotspot or the county's hotspot. So it was like a beefed up. It wasn't something that consumer could buy. These kind of things have helped. I mean, in the beginning, it was literally running. We were limited to what powwows we could go to because we had to depend on the venue providing us an internet feed. Now with all these other, Starlink and all these other options, we can go to a lot more places. So yeah, it preference is if the venue, like a lot of these powwows are in indoor arenas, the bigger ones, and so there's usually some type of internet for us to use, and so we'll piggyback on whatever that is. But yeah, we stream a lot on satellites.
Well, so the cost involved, I'm just thinking about, the pan, tilt, zoom
Yeah,
cameras, satellite internet, which, you got to pay for. You got to pay, there's all this
travel. Yeah.
yeah, travel. So if you mind my asking, what's the cost roughly for like putting together one of these? And like who pays that? Is it the
Yeah.
tribe that's putting on the powwow? Is it like the sponsor? Like,
Yeah, generally now we offer this as a service to the powwow, and this is like most of these powwows look at it as part of their marketing budget. This is how they get more people to come. And some powwows even look at it as they use it to help them get some grants and to reach a broader audience. So then they can show their sponsors that, hey, by the way, this went out to 1 million people worldwide.
yeah.
So that's kind of where we come in, and like we can boost your marketing, we can boost your reach. And so yeah, the powwows hire us to come in. So and yeah, there's all kinds of costs. I mean, there's a lot of times we have to ship the equipment or ship the equipment
Right.
back and forth between our teams. There's travel there, all that. It is expensive. But yeah, most of the time, pretty much, I think 90% of the powwows we're doing now, they hire us. There's still a few that are small powwows that we do on a pro bono basis, but yeah, pretty much they all hire us to come in.
Awesome. Yeah. And if someone is interested in creating sort of a live streaming service business like this, like whether it be for, a company's retreat or
Yeah.
a special event or what have you, right? So how would you recommend, because you have a lot of experience in this, like we've said, so like over 20 years of live streaming experience. So how would you recommend nowadays, if you had to start over again and build a live streaming service business, that traveled around or, all this sort of thing, what advice would you give to someone who's interested in like getting into that space?
So that's tough. If I had to start over again, I don't know that I would, um, because it is so tough, and it is now. People are going live on their phone on TikTok and getting hundreds of people watching. So it's so much easier now for people to stream. In the beginning, we were the only ones out there trying this crazy stuff.
Right.
So if you are trying to get into it, you need to find what differentiates you, what makes you unique. Still, for us, it is a couple of things. One, we have 20 years experience.
Mm-hmm.
We have a viewership, we have a platform that we can bring to you, right? So there's even powwows that have their own crew, that have their own streaming. We don't even show up. They just send their feed to our platforms. again, because that's what we can
Awesome.
bring, right? We can bring the viewers. Sure, you can post it on YouTube, and you may get algorithm lucky and all of a sudden hit a bunch of viewers, but pretty much you're going to need a following. So that's what I would say is like find what differentiates you. If it's um, maybe you have some kind of technical expertise, or you're going to come at it from a different angle. Maybe you're going to do drone shots or whatever, right? Find that thing that differentiates you and makes you different, and then go at it from that angle.
Awesome. That's great advice. So getting into like, you know, we heard about how you helped create powwows.com and the, live streaming aspect for that. But how about you as a content creator? When did you decide I want to start making content with myself, not just, for the powwows, but I want to make my own travel video content. I want to be a content creator. How did that journey start and how has it changed over time? I'm really interested in that.
It's changed a lot over time. I mean, it's always something I dabbled in since we had the ability to do phones, or to carry a GoPro with us. It's always something I played with. It wasn't until just recently that I actually got serious and tried to and am trying to do more with it. We as a family made a decision that we wanted to prioritize travel, and so for us it was about making memories and having experiences. So we wanted to share that, and I've done a good job with like sharing pictures and stuff on Facebook, and so it kind of has grown over that. And like right now, I'm still not great at being consistent with my own stuff as much as I am with powwows. So like this month in April, I've challenged myself to post every single day on social media, and at least once a week on for a reel or something like that, to really push myself and to get all this video and photos that I have on my phone and on my cameras out to the public. Because I go on vacation and we shoot a ton of video and then I never use it, right? So I'm
Yeah.
getting better, and it is a journey. It's still something I'm figuring out. But yeah, so this month I'm really forcing myself to do it.
No, I absolutely can relate to that. I have literally years of content
Yeah.
that I still haven't edited and released. That's why I got into live streaming because it's so freeing.
So it's easier, right?
Yeah. And we also just got our first subscriber for the Twitch channel. So thank you,
Nice.
Ultimate Romancer. That happened when you were talking. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank you so much. You're your very first subscriber on Adventures Twitch channel. So thank you. But yeah, so talking about like kind of holding yourself accountable basically,
Yes.
because and you are, I would say, right, a full-time content creator. Would you describe yourself as that?
Yeah. I mean, primarily for the powwows.com side.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we do, whether it's content on a blog or an article or whatever. Yes. That's what we're
Hmm.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So getting into that space, like you're saying, you were an early mover in the space. You were on the internet when it was pretty new,
Yeah.
making stuff, making content and providing a platform that's very much needed. And so, but nowadays we are in a different environment. We are not in the early mover into the internet environment or even into video or even into live streaming or podcasts or whatever, right? This stuff has all been around for a while. So your advice talking about what is your unfair advantage, right? Makes you special and unique to bring an audience that they can't get your content from anyone else. That's what you're going to have to focus on now. And
Yeah.
like even just saying about this podcast, I created this because I realized there wasn't an IRL streaming focused podcast. Um, at least I haven't been able to find it, and I've looked a lot. So if there is, that's awesome. But
Mhm.
I was like, okay, there's a gap here in the niche, and I want to make travel video creator podcast. So if I just tried to do something that a bunch of other people have already done, it would be a lot harder for me to stand out. So that's excellent advice for sure. And when you're talking about your different content streams, you have obviously powwows.com, which is more your business, right?
Right.
That's where you make most of your money. And then you have your vlog, your YouTube channel. You have a community of travel creators, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's that's a Facebook group that you run.
Yes.
and then you have a podcast, and you are now doing coaching as well. So with all of this experience in the space, because you have you're a veteran of content creation, I'd say, in the space. So what was your thought process for, okay, I'm gonna, kind of do my Paul Gowder thing, separate myself a little bit from powwows.com. And how did you decide, you know, okay, I'm launching the YouTube channel, I'm launching the podcast, and what order that goes in, and like how you find the time to do all that stuff and give it the time it needs to be like valuable to the listeners, or the people that pay you for coaching, the people that join your community, watch your videos, because that is a lot. And I'm discovering that too. Like, I'm doing YouTube, I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
Twitch, I'm doing a podcast, and yeah, it definitely adds up. So, doing that, and then also powwows.com, and
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I mean, how do I do it all? I don't always. I don't always do a good job. That's what I was saying earlier. I'm not always as consistent as I should be, but it depends on the week, right? And what priorities there are. For me, it, I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I was very reluctant about that. It was a friend of mine, Lou Mongello, over at WDW Radio, that encouraged me to do more of that, and he actually forced me to speak at his conference, and get out there and talk about it. So it's been a journey to going into the coaching side and to being more of the content creator on the Gowders Are on the Go and the paulgowder.com side. So it's still evolving, but yeah, the coaching side, that is something I absolutely, again, I was reluctant, but I love doing it. I love working with people and, having light bulb moments and helping them to, level up their business and make, connect the dots and see a new possibility and help them build their business. I love that. It's so much fun for me. And so I've really enjoyed doing those, one-on-one coaching and having working with those folks. I've created a few courses too, and with another friend of mine, Jeff C. We have a paid mastermind group that we have a group of people we coach each week. So that's been really fun too, and getting to work with them over. We've been almost at it for a year. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff I absolutely love, and I'm doing some more speaking. I'm actually going to be at CEX coming up this summer up in Cleveland, so I'm looking forward to speaking there. Yeah, and spoke at Podfest a couple of months ago. So that kind of stuff, I'm starting to do more of it. And it's again, it's the relationships. It's the, getting to meet people and to hear what they're doing. And, when I speak, I also end up with a bunch of notes myself, like of, after getting questions and talking with people, I take away a lot of stuff for myself as well. So it's something, again, I'm not doing it as well as I could, but I'm trying to give myself grace and do it as much as I can.
Yeah, and that's excellent. And again, while you were talking, we got some more follows and
Awesome.
another subscription. So,
Sweet.
NMM Sareme, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Thank you so much for the tier 1 subscription. You're our second ever subscriber. So thank you
Very
so
cool.
much. We're talking about, talking about monetizing and all this stuff. And, it's starting to happen for me right now.
Yeah, that's
um,
great.
but, when you get into coaching, the thought of, for me personally, like, coaching, that's very intimidating. Like, how do I provide enough value to people? How do I drum up business? How do I, for you, you have the track record, right? You have years, decades of experience in this space, which is amazing. And obviously people want to benefit from your advice and your perspective and your experience. But for someone who's a little bit newer,
Mhm.
what kind of advice would you have for them, for like, when would be a good time to think about, what can I provide to people where they could pay me? And I like, beyond just creating videos, right? But going past that, how could I help people solve their problems? And what would be like the right timeline? How do you attract an audience for that and customers? Because to me, that's like the part where I'm like, who's going to want to listen to me,
Right.
So for
Yeah.
people that are interested in getting into coaching or courses, um how would you decide, like, okay, now is the right time to transition into that?
So I heard a talk recently from one of the guys that works at Lulu Publishing, and he said everybody has a book in them. You just have to find what it is. So I think that everybody has some kind of value they can bring to a coach or courses or coaching. So I don't know how I got twisted on that. So I think there's something you can offer. It's figuring out again what makes you different. What is it about your journey and your story that others would see useful? And if you can find that, then you can start creating the content that may drive people to want to buy from you. Maybe you start with a digital product, right? Maybe it's a ebook or a checklist or a challenge, right? Maybe you help people go live for the first time. You help them through a 3-week challenge leading up to their first live. So there's lots of things you can do there, even smaller things, and to build it up. But I also heard somebody say something recently that I think is really important for people who want to get into the coaching and the courses is you can build the best course in the world. You can build the best coaching program. You can write the best book. But unless you have systems to make people aware of those things and to sell those things, then the content itself is useless. So I think it is, how do you grow your following? I think you have to figure that out before you even start creating the content. You need to figure out, and that's what a lot of my coaching is how to build your email list. I think that is one of the most crucial steps right now that people are missing is
Yeah.
build your email list. That's where you can get your customers, right? And if you figure out a way to start getting people onto your email list, then you have a system in place to promote the content and to talk about it, ask questions and get feedback so you can build another piece of content, right? Yeah, that's where I would tell people to start is build the list from the beginning.
Right. And that's something that I've been hearing for years. And I'm in the process of trying to figure that out for myself.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's, I know it's the one thing that follows you, right? Because you
Yes.
don't know when or if you're going to get banned off of Twitch or YouTube,
Right.
or whether whatever company might not exist in the future, whether, whatever algorithm changes. And then, but if you have people's emails and you have the people that want to follow you, right, no matter where you go, because of your expertise, your personality, what have you, because you're you, then you're able to move them with you throughout the journey, right? And yeah, so that's really powerful. And it's funny because I think the more time I'm spending, you know, in content creation, the more I realize that the things that people think are old school are actually really important, right? Like
Yes.
email,
Yeah.
which it's funny because at one point email was like the future, but now everyone's like, oh, email? What are you, like 100? You know, but it's, it's a pillar of profitability, right? When it comes to a content creation business. And another thing that I'm really realizing, and you will know the value of this as well, because actually we both were at Podfest. I don't think we
Yeah.
met each other there, right? But but we were both there.
Yeah.
Is the in-person events and talking to people one-on-one. I was just at a creator event last night and it was amazing. And there was like 9 people there.
Yeah.
But honestly, that was great because I got to talk to every single person, and everyone, like, not everyone was in my niche. Like, not everyone was a travel video creator, but there was some sort of value that we could provide to each other. And we found that out by sitting down and talking face to face. And you get this different sense of, you know, communication when you're in face to face. So even though, like, right now you and I are, we're on a video call and everything, it's like if we were in the same place and, we're focused on each other, we're not looking at a screen. It's just a different
It's still different. Yes.
yeah, and it's very valuable. And I'm realizing, like, I can't stress enough how important it is to network. And when I say network, I don't just mean, online, but like go to networking events for content creators in your area, go to conferences. It's super powerful. And I probably wouldn't be where I am without I probably wouldn't have created a podcast without this chain reaction of attending certain events, meeting certain people. And, it's kind of like interesting because the more advanced we get, the more important those basic kind of old
Yes.
school things become.
For me, people are surprised when I say this. With powwows.com, we have 1 million Facebook followers.
Wow,
We have a Facebook group with 130,000 members. We had a
that's
Facebook group
amazing.
with 85,000 members that got deleted
Oh, jeez.
and gone. But our email list is where I really feel like I can communicate and have conversations with people more directly. I know that when I send out an email, that it lands in everybody's inbox. If I put
Mhm.
with 1.1 million followers on Facebook, when I send out a message, I mean, some of my messages are seen by 1,000 people out of 1.1 million. It's so frustrating. But I know when I send that email, it's going to everybody's inbox. Now they may not open it, but it's going
Right.
to everybody's inbox, and I'm able to talk with them. Be very personable in the emails. I spend a lot of time to try to write my emails like I'm talking to them.
Mhm.
And when I get replies, I feel like that's where I can really have these one-on-one engagements and conversations and grow the community even more because we're actually having a real conversation
Mhm.
instead of just sending out content to the ether on
Yeah.
Facebook or some other platform. Yeah.
And if you don't mind my asking, what email service do you use, like for sending out those marketing emails? Because I'm trying to find the right one for myself, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers and the listeners are interested in what's a good service to use or what your thoughts are on like what's important in that type of email service.
I should have had my LinkedIn ready to say this because I am an affiliate, and if you want to sign
Oh,
up, you
great!
need to use my link. I'm going to find it right now while I'm talking.
We
What
could
I
definitely
use?
put it
Yeah,
in the show notes for sure.
okay.
So
I
it'll be
use
in the
Kit.
show notes.
Okay, ConvertKit is the old name, but it's now called Kit, and
Mhm.
I've been using it for several years. Highly recommend it. PaulGowder.com/ConvertKit. There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, it for me, I've tried some of the others, and I've coached
Mhm.
people on other platforms like Flowdesk.
Mhm.
Um, for me, Kit just logically flows better. I'm able to create email series and sequences a lot easier. I'm able to create rules and do that kind of thing.
Right.
It's their interface is pretty easy to use, and I love it. Yeah, and they're good people. I've gotten to know a few of them over there. I'm actually going to their conference for the first time this year up
Great.
in Idaho later this summer. So looking forward to even getting to know them even more. But yeah, I cannot recommend Kit enough. It's good stuff. And they have a special. They changed recently. Your first 10,000 subscribers are free.
Mhm.
So you can work on Kit for a long time before you even have to get on a paid plan.
Right. That's awesome. And yeah, go check out the link for the affiliate code.
Yeah.
Comes highly recommended. And I've heard that as well about Kit, and some other services that are also pretty good.
Mhm.
So now getting into some of your goals for the future, right? We talked a lot about logistics and building the business and the community that you have
Right.
so far. So I'm interested where you want to take this, where you want to take your content creation and kind of what your goals are for your business and your brand and content creation for the future.
Yeah, I mean, right now I want to focus on continuing to grow powwows.com. We are working to do some different grow the email list primarily with all the changes with Google algorithms and things. Our content always doesn't get, or like our blog posts and articles don't always get surfaced as well as they did 2 years ago. So we're working to continue to grow that email list and to grow our social media presence so that we can continue to serve our community and to make sure that our content continues to be published. So we're working on that. As far as the coaching and stuff, I'm really trying to be more consistent and to have some more offerings. I've got, like I said, I created a few courses. I've got one more that I'm working on, and kind of then we'll kind of have a full email journey kind of thing that you could go through with my different courses. I'm working with another creator out there. We're going to actually have a live seminar, a 4-week plan to take you through the entire process of building your email list from signing up with Kit to configuring it to all the way through, that first, starting to grow it. So those are kind of things I want to move into and do more of, especially as um, now that I have some teams with powwows.com and we can, I want to transition a little bit more into the coaching side of things. But it's also about making sure that, again, with the changes in Facebook and all this stuff, that we continue to explore lots of different ways of putting our content out there and monetizing, because you never know as these things change. So I want to have as many different content creation types and monetization streams as we can to make sure that we continue to be viable.
That's awesome. And if you had to give some good advice for someone who is brand new to content creation, and maybe they haven't even started their channel yet, or whether that's Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, what have you, like, what would you say to that person to focus on as the first thing to focus on, and to put importance on when you are starting to create the content? Because I know you have a lot of experience, so I want to hear from you what you think, we can benefit from the newer content creators, and what to focus on.
I think you need to focus on being you. Don't try to be Mr. Beast or Gary Vaynerchuk, or, don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to produce the same content that other people do. Produce content that you like, that you would want to watch, that is for you. And don't worry about it being for anybody else. Create content that you want to see, and your people will find you. It may not happen overnight. You may not have 1 million followers at the end of this year. It's okay, right? You continue to be consistent to produce that quality content that you want to watch, and your people will find you. You have to work at it, right? There's things you have to do to grow and get your stuff out there. But that's where I would start, is produce content that you would want to watch, and then go from there. And then step 2 is create your email list.
Right. Yeah. And that's awesome. Thank you so much for that advice, and for all of your perspectives that you shared with us today. Is there anything else you'd like to shout out or mention before we end here today?
Yeah, a couple things. Again, I want to say the Pow Wows are open to the public. Please go find one near you. Help support Native culture. Help support those dancers and singers and the artists and vendors that are there. powwows.com/powwows near me. Go find one near you. If you want to reach out to me, and if you're interested in learning more about the coaching or the courses I do, paulgowder.com is that place. If you want to follow all of our travel craziness, we got 3 trips just this month. So you can follow that over on Gowder's or onthego.com. So I appreciate it. I love talking video and travel and all of this. So I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate you coming on. And I learned a lot today, and had a great time talking with you. And I gotta say as well, awesome shirt. If you're listening to the podcast, Paul's got a like a kind of mosaic of a bunch of different Disney characters on there. I see Dumbo and Ariel and the Fox and the Hound. It's awesome. I love it. I just want to compliment you on that.
If you're into that, the Roosevelt brand, that here's a rabbit hole that will just eat your pocketbook up. But Roosevelt's is RSVLTS, pronounced Roosevelt's. They have some incredible shirts for all fandoms: Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, Harry Potter. They just did a whole release for Saturday Night Live. Even they've got a ton of shirts, and they do drops once or twice a week. It's a really cool thing. But for me, travel people, this is the same kind of material like a Columbia PFG. So it's not a cotton shirt. It's more of, it's kind of stretchy. It's breathable. I wear this when I go into Disney parks, and I don't feel like I'm going to die underneath it, or like a cotton shirt gets all sticky and sticks to you. These are great shirts for travel. I absolutely love these, and they're really cool and have a great look.
Awesome. And yeah, and I believe you have a link for that as well.
I have an article about me, about my shirts. They don't have an affiliate program. I wish they did. Roosevelt, please reach out to me. Let's do something.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Paul. And be sure to follow Paul, paulgowder.com. You can check out powwows.com, right?
Yeah, powwows.com.
Powwows.com, sorry. Yeah, check out powwows.com. Find a powwow near you and go experience that. But thanks again so much. And have a great day, everyone.